What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the show. I'm Vince. I'm driving today, I guess. We got Sam here. How's it going, buddy?
What's up, dude?
Uh, Tyler is out, but we do have Tim on the ones and twos. How's it going, Tim?
It's going good. Yeah, let's do this.
Yeah. So just to update a little bit, we were just talking about it before the show. Me, Sam, Tyler, we are in a fantasy football league, and we just had our draft, and we did an in-person draft with the stickers and everything. It was a lot of fun, and already planning next year's. And haven't even started the season yet. We already have a trade as well. It's going to be a lot of fun to see how the season shakes out and how I'm going to end up making it a three-peat. I'm really looking forward to seeing how I make it happen.
That's not going to happen because I have the team.
You did end up with the number 1 overall pick. You got CMC, and
I was looking at my roster today, and I'm feeling pretty good, dude.
Little roster baiting happening during lunch.
I like it. I like it a lot. I was just gonna say about the in-person draft. If anybody who's watching this and plays fantasy football, do it in person. The people who can't make it, get them on a computer screen and do it in person. I think something that I woke up to today, I got a couple texts from other friends, our friend who was there, he's not participating in the draft, but he just wanted to hang out. He was just texting how much fun it was to be around a group of friends. And I was just really thinking about this. Like, it's been a few years since COVID, and we look at the world now as pre and post COVID, right? And I think pre-COVID, doing everything online was super easy, efficient. And then we go into this lockdown. And now that we're out of it, these are the things that I love, is coming together, being in the same room with people, being with the people you love. We're each other in fantasy football, but it's all love. It's all like lovely trash talk, and it was just a great time. So if you're out there and you're not doing an in-person fantasy football draft, like, do it.
If you got
scheduling it.
Obviously, if you have like people across the country, that's going to be a little bit tougher. But if you're in a league where you're all within driving range of each other,
do it.
Try to make it happen. And like my brother's in the league with us as well, and he couldn't make it this time, but we're gonna really. He really wants to be there next time. He still ended up with a pretty good team, even with the auto draft. So,
right. And we're planning. I think I'm going to do a Super Bowl party. I think it makes sense to do a Super Bowl party with it.
A championship party, not a Super Bowl, because it's But you're doing a Super
fantasy
Bowl.
football championship.
Fantasy, whatever.
Yeah. Our
December party.
Fantasy Super Bowl. Vince, maybe next week you got to get a picture of. We got to show the trophy and all that.
Oh yeah.
You got a nice trophy. You did a good job putting that together.
Yeah.
Great job, Commish.
The first year, the first year we started making this league serious, I got us a trophy. Like I won the whole league, and then I just basically put. I think we won, like, we didn't put a lot of money in each. Like, I think I won $200, and then I spent $201 on a trophy. So I just put it right back into the league, and then this past year I won it again, and so I was able to get like the engraving, like the labels and everything done too. So yeah, that's been a lot of fun, and I bought a draft kit this year with it too. So
it was great, man. It was great.
It's been great. Yeah. So all right, that's 5 minutes.
Shout out Papa G real quick. He said he wants to do the family league
in person. Yeah, that'd be a lot of cool, and we might be able to make that happen next.
Let's get us back on track.
Let's talk real football real quick. We did have the final week of preseason games. The Niners and the Raiders played each other, and they played each other to a draw. It was 24 apiece. The Raiders ended up getting that tying field goal under 2 minutes left in the fourth, right? And there was a little bit of chaos at the end. The Niners almost did a 40,000 laterals and then score a touchdown, but they ended up getting tackled a little bit short. Made it a little interesting, a little chaotic, little please don't get hurt anybody, a little nervous, but it was it was fine. Whatever. It was kind of a boring game, to be honest, until that part. I mean, until like
Right.
the very end.
When I saw that the 49ers were rolling out a good amount of starters and the Raiders were not, it went about as expected.
Right.
I would
I mean,
think that Brock Purdy led offense and a majority of their starters should dominate a bunch of second and third and fourth stringers that are just competing to be on an NFL roster, let alone starters for the Raiders. I guess the from it is I thought the back end roster guys on both teams fought really hard, and there were some guys on the Raiders specifically that climbed up the ladder and look like they're probably going to make the team, most likely as special teams. But overall, the game was, as a fan, a lot of poor execution, especially in the second half. But didn't have a lot of reps. They're running around with third, fourth options. So it's not really getting a lot of run and reps and quality reps. So overall, I think all games in the NFL this week were pretty boring.
yeah, I would agree.
Kickoff return, the Saints and the Titans.
Oh yeah. That one that was kind of exciting there.
Yeah.
Like that was like right near the end of the first half, right?
That was a badass like 10 seconds.
Yeah. You know what wasn't badass was the Vikings absolutely handing it to Tyler's Eagles 26-3 as well. I didn't see any of that game. I just wanted to get that out loud and take a dig at our buddy who can't be here and can't stop me from talking shit.
3-26 Vikings.
Oh man. Fry Eagles fry? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, skull baby. That's what that was. Yeah. Oh man. Okay. So
Just to close on the Raiders real quick.
yeah.
They did what I needed, what I hoped, get through the season healthy, preseason healthy, and then now you got next week off, come back week 1, and hopefully the next 2 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
you better have those first 15, 20 plays scripted real well because
Right.
you're gonna need to be a well executed team. I think the defense is going to be pretty good offensively. You're not blowing the doors off of anything.
Mm-hmm.
So every point you get is needed to win. I don't think you're going to see a lot of 30-12 Raider wins. I think you're seeing like 21-22. I think it's going to be a grindy year.
Mm-hmm.
My thoughts on the 49ers is you got to get this Brandon Ayuk situation to bed. I know we're but you got to put that situation to bed because this is your Super Bowl window with this current roster. I don't think you're going to be able to keep all these wide receivers and the running back and the quarterback and the offensive line and the defense intact. Pieces are going to start coming off.
Yeah. So Tyler's in the chat, even though he can't be here in person. Hi, Tyler. And my dad did ask, do you think that they need more or less preseason games? I think what you want is 20 games in total between a combination of regular season and preseason, before you get to playoff games. I think 20 is the right number. And so mathematically, I think right now 3 games is fine. If and when they go to 18, because I said that they were going to do that when they went to 17, when they get to 18 games, I think at that point you have to cut it down to 2 games because 18 regular season games are like 18 plus 2 is not the same as 17 plus 3 or 16 plus 4 like it was in the past.
I think 18 game schedule for the regular season is definitely coming, and I think that could happen as soon as like next year or the year after.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's happening.
Absolutely.
Coaches, and I think Kyle Shanahan and some other coaches were talking about this just a few weeks ago, and that they would like to keep 3 to 4 preseason games, even if they expand, because not really for the starters. It's for the back end roster guys.
Right.
And I think if you start getting to 18 games and then you cut down preseason to 2 games, I think you're starting the conversation of like the need for a secondary lesser football league. Like
Right.
guys need reps.
A
Like
minor league type.
you've relied on college football being your minor league system for decades, and now you're adding more games, you're adding more playoff games, you're stretching out the season, and you're seeing guys that are coming into the league and they're not prepared, and that's because they're not getting enough reps. It's not because they're bad football players. They're not getting enough coaching. They're not getting enough reps. They're not getting enough time on the field and to practice their craft.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. I know as a fan, 18 games plus 3 or 4 regular season games and your starting quarterback gets hurt or your prized edge rusher gets hurt.
Mhm.
Like, oh crap, there's our window. I don't know the solution, but I think you probably need that third game to evaluate the back end of your roster. But I know it's not a nice round number of 20.
Right. No, and I mean, right now we're at a prime number of 17. Like that's an actual, like, prime number, like in math when they teach you in third grade about prime numbers and stuff. Like that this is not sustainable. This is really weird and I hate it. So
Yep.
I can't wait for them to get to 18 just so that way my brain doesn't like start glitching on me thinking about a 17 game
Yeah,
roster.
17 games does suck.
Yeah,
Like,
it like it the math isn't fun on it either. Like to get there, like 13-4, no, it's gross, ill. Yeah,
like you can't even finish the season at 500. You're
yeah,
either
yeah.
one game over or one
Hmm.
game under.
Right, yeah. I mean, unless you are Mike Tomlin and can find a tie in there somewhere.
It's
Yeah,
definitely like Ricky Bobby if you like
yeah. If you ain't first, if you ain't first, you're last. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I 18, you got to have a 500,
Yeah,
it just makes sense. You have to
absolutely.
have it.
Um, all right, so let's talk news and notes now. Let's just I'm gonna do the same thing I did the last couple of weeks. The Brandon Ayuk updates. At 11:30 on Tuesday, Kyle Shanahan said zero update. Nothing has changed in regards to Brandon Ayuk and Trent Williams contracts. 2 p.m. on Tuesday, Jordan Schultz, NFL insider, reported the 49ers and Brandon Ayuk had another meeting yesterday, and talks continue to progress on a long-term contract extension. There have been movement on a deal, but there are some minor details that still need to be ironed out with ownership approval. And then Thursday, like right before 6 p.m., the likely scenario is Brandon Ayuk will stay. Deal with San Francisco is right there and only a couple of hurdles to figure out. Friday, 6 p.m., Brandon Ayuk was at the game. He traveled with the team to Las Vegas. I mean, if he's not close, there's no way he's not coming. If he's already like almost out the door to Pittsburgh, he's not going with the team to the game in Las Vegas. So that's why I'm all of a sudden like that alone, that percentage, like I was like 60-40 he's staying, just like based on all the reporting. When that happened, I was like 85-15 he's staying. Like he's at least staying through this year, through the end of his contract. Like yes. So, and just to make note on the Trent Williams contract, this morning actually there was a report that he's willing to hold out into week 1 unless he gets a new contract. So and he's a little bit older. He plays a really important position, the protecting Brock's blind side. He has a lot of leverage, and it's going to be interesting to see how they make both of these contracts fit, especially when you consider Brock's contract is in the very near horizon as well. Yeah, so I'm a little nervous about that. Let's talk. Washington actually sent Jahan Dotson in division to Philadelphia, and a 5th-round pick, and they got back a 3rd-round pick and 2 7th-round picks in 2025. So they Washington just really lost faith. And there's your dogs barking in the background. Washington really lost faith in Jahan Dotson. That was a 1st-rounder, I believe. Like he was a 1st-round pick for them a couple years ago, and so now they're sending him in division as well. Like that's telling me that they have no respect for him, and he's going to be the 3rd wide receiver there. They already have AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, so so that's locked up. and he's gonna have a chance to kind of thrive in a spot where he doesn't have to be, a top tier guy. He can just relax a little and do the job as a third wide receiver.
Right. I want to
Um,
go back to this 49ers stuff and
yeah,
ask you a little bit of probing questions.
yeah.
Is if you're the GM, you're the coach,
Mhm.
how do you feel about this Brandon Ayuk situation and
I'm pissed.
Trent Williams? Yeah.
I feel a little bit I don't want to say blindsided. They kind of knew that this might be a possibility, especially with Debo doing a similar thing, just a couple of years ago. But it's a little frustrating when you have to you know what you have coming. You know that Brock is going to take up a huge chunk of money next year, and you're not going to be able to hold it all together. And you you know I would have hoped to be able to get Brandon Ayuk through his contract. Um, Obviously that's not really a thing anymore in today's NFL, especially for top end players. So, it's like it sucks. I hate this, but it's something that you got to do, and you're going to end up paying him, and it's going to come at the cost of somebody else. And so I'm just wondering who's gone because of it. Is this maybe Kyle Juszczyk's last year? He already restructured once. I think Kittle also restructured, although I wouldn't expect Kittle to go anywhere. But even a top end fullback, they've shown that they're willing to use backup tight ends to do a similar job. Um,
Yeah.
when Kyle Juszczyk is gone, so
If
maybe
it were
that ends
me,
up being the play. I don't
if it
know.
were me, brother,
Mhm.
I'm going to Brandon Ayuk and Trent Williams, and I'm saying you have a contract. You're either playing on that contract now, so you play the contract and we'll revisit a new contract in the offseason. If not, you're being traded. And you know what? He doesn't have a no trade clause.
Right. We could have sent him to
Trade
New
him.
England. We could have
Trade
done
him.
that. Yeah.
Because the scary part typically, and if if this piece is taken out of context or people don't know where we stand, and I say we as a whole podcast, traditionally we stand by the player. Like the
Right.
player, it's a players league. We watch the sport because of the player. We don't watch the sport because of the general manager and the head coach and the ownership. We watch because of athletic ability.
Mhm.
We don't have it. We oh my god, look at it. It's so great. We watch it because of the sport.
Right.
Okay? Because of them. In this situation, you're holding the team hostage and the rest of your teammates, and I understand you got to get your money when you're going to when you have the opportunity to get it.
Right.
Trent Williams, you're a freaking Hall of Famer. You made a buttload of money. You have all the money in the world. Brandon Ayuk, it's not like you're playing for $100,000, $50,000. Your contract right now is going to pay you. I think the 5th year option is like 14 million,
It's
13 million.
14.1 or something like that. Yeah.
So come on. And I know it's relative. I know it's relative. Like
Yeah.
I'm never going to make that in my life. I understand it's a relative thing. It's a different career path, different everything. I get that and I respect it. But like I said, are you going to, if you get traded to say Washington or New England, or whatever team that is on the rebuild, are you going to make more money being a Hall of Fame wide receiver and a Super Bowl winner on the San Francisco 49ers or a really good wide receiver that never wins? You
Yeah.
can make more money over the course of your lifespan by being a Super Bowl champion with the 49ers right now. And you know what, Trent Williams? You don't have a lot of opportunity to win a Super Bowl. This is it.
Yeah.
This year and like next year. Because if I'm the 49ers with his age, at some point, Father Time is going to get him. The
Mhm.
Grim Reaper is going to take him out. Just time. So
Yeah.
if I'm Lynch, if I'm Shanahan, at some point I got to take a stand and say I can't do this late into the season. Bosa is one of the most athletically gifted football players, athletes on the planet. And everybody said, oh, he could just roll out of bed and get 5 sacks a game. And look at, he had his worst
DPOY
season.
DPOY 2 years ago. Last year, it was real. Like it took him forever to get going, and he never really even got going
in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Just
I'm
the
just saying,
conditioning wasn't there, yeah.
you know, he was absent.
Yep.
And the final game of the season, the Super Bowl, was Trent Williams. Was Trent Williams a Hall of Fame left tackle on the blind side? To me, no. You know, so at this point, the 49ers have to take a stand. You're either on the bus or you're off the bus.
That's fair. Yeah.
Right. So I don't got time for this nonsense. And typically I am 99% on the player side. But every year, man, the 49ers are in this position and it's a cap league. You can't pay everybody. I have a lot of respect for Kyle Shanahan. Last week, he did an interview and he talked about the trade with DeForest Buckner, and that, of course, you want DeForest Buckner on the team. Of course, he's amazing. He's great. He does everything you want as a franchise player.
Yep.
But you, if you pay DeForest Buckner, there's like 3 players you can't retain. Right? So those 3 other players also contribute at multiple levels of the game for you. So it's the same thing. Fine. You know what, Brandon Ayuk? I can't pay you. Fine. Trent Williams, I can't pay you. I'm going to go elsewhere. And it sucks that it's happening on this season, but I have to move on as a franchise. I can't be held hostage anymore. It's about precedent. All of these 49er players are doing this to the 49ers. And at some point, you just got to stand up for yourselves and cut bait.
Yeah.
I trade them, Vince.
I think I'm getting closer. Like I hear that, and I mean I'm honestly like, I feel like
even if I don't get players back, I'll settle for the draft picks at this point.
Yeah, I'm trying to make every possibility to make it work before I trade them, and right now it sounds like that there is an opportunity to make it work. So I'm gonna try to do that. I don't want to lose anybody if I don't have to. But yeah, it's getting awful close to game time, and that part of it is making me nervous. The Nick Bosa of it all from last year. And hell, even like a couple years ago when Deebo did it, like it was
midnight tonight at 12:01. You're being sent off to the New England Patriots. That's where I would be.
All right. Yeah. So just one more note. Somebody who finally did get his bag, CeeDee Lamb. 4 years, 136 million. That's a 38 million guaranteed, and he's now the number 2 highest paid non-quarterback player in the league. So good on you, bud. He got his money. Jerry finally caved, I guess. Yeah, Tyler sent us a thing about Jerry thinking that he's the best damn GM ever.
Yeah, I was hoping this would make it. I don't see it in our notes.
I forgot to put it in there because it came across too late.
How dare you forget and be a human being?
I know. I was working and everything. Fuck me.
Jerry Jones, quick. Jerry Jones.
I got the quote. He said, "There's nobody that could fucking come in here and be a better GM." That was in response to somebody asking if he should step down as general manager. Sure, bud. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Howie Roseman, who is Tyler in the comments. Oh man. Okay.
Yeah.
So good on you, CD. Way to go. Now that's not something that anybody else is gonna have to worry about. Fantasy football wise, you made a safe pick. And speaking of picks, next week, after Labor Day, but before the season starts, when we record our next episode, we will have our NFL picks for the season. So, and then we will share with the world what we think's going to happen, because we're always 100% right. Don't check. All right. So
correct.
That being said, let's switch gears to basketball. We're going to start with the sad news on Wednesday, we heard that Alvin Adels, former player and coach, at 87 years old, and the Warriors left a beautiful statement, mourning the loss, alongside his wife and his son and everybody who loved him. And it's obviously, but 87 is a hell of a life. The pictures that we have, that we put up is one of them is him as a player. I think The Athletic put that picture out, and then there's one of him riding the car in the championship, in the championship parade, with his family. And he was a great ambassador for the team, even during the lean years, the pre-Curry years. And it's just, he's a guy that was kind of always at least around a little bit every year, and they're gonna miss him. Uh, yeah. So that's all I got for that. You got anything you want to add, Sam?
I got to see him one time. I didn't really get to meet him, but I got to see him at a Warriors game. He was just kind of like walking on where the fans were, and he got stopped by a few fans, and had very positive things to say. And he was, did a couple photos with fans, and I mean, he was like one of the few championships for a long time until we got to the Curry years. So
Yeah,
player, coach,
player coach, including too. Might have been the last player / coach at the same time.
Yeah, I think so. And so it was just a hell of a Golden State Warrior, and he represented the franchise on the court, off the court, as a gentleman. And you can't say enough good things about about the man. So rest in peace, man.
Rest in the most peace. Okay, let's switch gears to the WNBA. There's a couple of fun things happening here. This news broke a little while ago about Paige Beckers, who is currently a college player, but is widely rumored to be going to end up being the number 1 pick, probably in the WNBA draft next year. But she basically, she really loves the color scheme that the Golden State Valkyries have. The article that you posted for us to look at, it actually went into a little bit of detail showing that the last couple expansion teams did not end up with the number 1 overall pick. Actually, they ended up, just outside the lottery at like 4 and 6 or something like that. So it's not a lock that the Golden State Valkyries will get the number 1 overall pick. I hope they do, and it'd be fun to have somebody who really likes the color scheme already ready to hang out and make some noise for a brand new WNBA team. That'd be a lot of fun, right? But you got to get that number 1 overall pick first.
I think if I'm the Valkyrie, if let's say you get the 4, you trade up. I think you do what you need to do to trade up. I know you don't have any players. Or when is the
so the expansion draft is probably going to happen sometime early next year before the season starts. I believe the season starts in like March, February.
The expansion draft happens and then the college draft?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So the expansion draft will happen probably, and actually the WNBA season starts right as the NBA playoffs are wrapping up.
And can you trade players from the expansion draft?
Oh yeah, they could make moves like that. They could absolutely.
Yeah, see, I'm moving up. Yeah,
whatever it takes to get up to number 1 and try to get, you want to get a game changer, especially in basketball. That's the one team sport where a superstar can make all the difference.
I tell you what I'm doing, Vince.
Yeah,
you draft Paige Beckers.
Ignore the U when you're pronouncing it.
You trade, you get the number 1, you draft her, and then in 2 years you bring home who? Sabrina.
You cut out there a little bit. Go and repeat the name again.
Who are we bringing home? In 2 years.
In 2 years?
Sabrina
Ionescu. Okay. Yeah. That could be fun.
And you just make it happen, dude.
Yeah.
You just make it happen. And I tell you why Paige wants to be a Golden State Valkyrie is because she knows the cross promotion with the Golden State Warriors. She knows about marketing. She's a smart one.
Yep.
UConn ain't no.
No, not for like, yeah, they crank out basketball players, men's and
Absolutely.
women's side, man. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah.
But no,
Um,
she's I did I'm not sitting here saying that I go and watch a bunch of UConn women's basketball or college basketball overall. But last week we talked about it, and I did go online and check out her highlight reel, and she's got game, man,
she's legit.
and she can be a franchise player. So I really hope that the Valkyrie do trade up and take her number 1 overall. That'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so let's also we're gonna stay in the WNBA. And we're gonna talk Angel Reese. She finally got her deal with Reese's. She actually said, like, this is so fun. This is just a fun little story. I love this. Back in June, like the end of June, she sent out a little tweet and said, Reese's Pieces, where y'all at? And then like I guess like last week they said who favorite player, and then they dropped this image of Angel Reese jerseys in the Reese's font with the number 5 to match her to match her number, and then like all kinds of hoodies and stuff like that too. And then they even gave her some kicks that are they're fucking fire, man. I love those. Like
It's
I
awesome.
would wear those shoes. They're Reese's Pieces inspired shoes.
Are
And
the shoes New Balance? Because I know she signed a deal with New Balance.
I can't tell by any logos on here. I don't know. I
Oh,
would
those are
imagine.
Reebok. Those are Reebok.
Are they? Oh yeah, they are Reebok.
Those
Yeah,
are
the indentation. Okay.
those are they look like Iverson's The Question shoe.
Yeah. I know you're right.
So
Okay.
those look like Reeboks all the way.
All right.
Here's little Dave Stewart.
Yep.
We named Stewart after Dave Stewart.
Nice.
He's begging to get on camera.
Right.
He's
You gotta
scratching
pay the puppy
at
tax, man.
Yeah, scratching at the legs. So
Oh, right. Okay. So, the other thing that we named this episode after is San Jose teams making moves, right? So that means there's 2 of them. Let's start with the first one in hockey. This is a huge one. The Sharks, they make a trade for a top-rated goalie, Yaroslav Askarov, and they get him from Nashville. And so they sent David Edstrom for a forward that they got in the Tomas Hertl trade. And Vegas's 2025 first round pick that they got also in the Tomas Hertl trade. So basically they sent Magnus Krona as well, a goalie who spent a couple of games up with the big team. And so they get back Colorado's 3rd round pick, as well as another depth forward for the minor league system, Nolan Burke, who may or may not end up seeing a minute or 2 here or there with the team, in a couple of years. I'm not
Right.
sure. I haven't really dove into him, but so they get their goalie. He's 22 years old. He's basically NHL ready. Right now, the Sharks do have 2 NHL level goaltenders already on the team, so he may end up starting with the Barracuda for the first month or so. But I gotta probably right around the time All-Star break comes, he's gonna have already started several games for the Sharks by then, I believe. Maybe as soon as the new year hits, he'll be called up by then, within a couple of months. I'm really excited for this move. The goalie of the future is the goalie of the present, or the very near future at this point. Like,
Yeah.
it's like this is a huge move. And he was basically blocked in Nashville because they signed their top goaltender to an 8-year contract over this offseason. And then they also signed a backup for a 2-year contract. So he was basically locked out. He wasn't going to be able to earn an opportunity with Nashville. He wasn't going to be able to be the man anytime soon. Whereas with the Sharks, there's NHL caliber goalies right now. There's 2 of them, but I mean, they're not. Blackwood's fine. I mean, but they're going to be trade bait. They're like they're going to try to get another. They're going to try to stock up even more with the minors with those guys. So and one of them's on an expiring contract. I don't even have the names listed for the other guy, but basically, Askarov. If you look up some of the highlights for him, One of the things that he was
Yeah.
famous for was after making after a win, and like I think it was a shootout win, he goes over, he tips over the net, and then starts doing push up like he's doing the bar at the gym with the with the goalie net. It's so funny with the goal net. That guy's a character. So it's going to be a lot of fun, you know. Goalies are a little bit weird to begin with. There's a screw loose in most of them, especially the really good ones. So this guy's got, I think, as long as the
He's
right
got a
screw
couple
is
of
loose.
screws loose.
Yeah, as long as the right screws are loose, and it stays fun, like doing push-ups or like bench presses with the goal net. Then it's great. As long as he doesn't go full Jordan Bennington, I think I'm gonna be just fine. Uh, oh yeah, fuck that guy. um, yeah. So I'm really excited. This was basically the last piece that you've added a bunch of forward depth, obviously, with Macklin Celebrini and Will Smith and a bunch of other people. You've addressed a couple of defensive pieces too, that are just about ready to make the leap. And so this is the time. We've talked about it before. If you're gonna hop on the bandwagon, do it now while we're at the bottom where it's really easy. It's just one tiny little step up to get onto the bandwagon.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of people on the bandwagon right now. Like it's a great time. You're going to be able to get some cheap tickets as long as you're not trying to go on Joe Thornton's retirement day. Those are expensive as shit. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Shout out Vince's wallet.
Yeah. R.I.P. my wallet. Rest in the most peace. Oh. Oh.
I feel like as a former athletics fan, we've seen too many rebuilds, and it's like you're going up a roller coaster, right? You're going up, you're going up, you're going up, and then it's right before that drop. Is for the San Jose Sharks, you're still on that incline, but you look over to your partner, you're like, it's happening,
This is getting good. This is gonna be so
we're
fun.
about to go down.
Yeah, let's go.
So I feel like we're in that mode of like, I don't expect the Sharks to win a bunch of games next year.
No.
I think what we're looking forward to is obviously seeing the young guys just be there and take steps forward. And then for, young guys like Eklund, right? Like become a better pro, get more consistent, get more playing time, and see these guys like Celebrini and Askarov now, like take over playing time and establish roles into the system. I think, a year and a half, 2 seasons from now, roughly, that'll be the drop of like, yeah, we're like on the ride because everybody is arriving at the same time.
Yeah.
But I think it's a really exciting time in this roster rebuild. Is all of the moves make a lot of sense, and Mike Greer is timing a lot of these trades and getting younger at the right positions, and even just adding to the minor system, because a good franchise has a well-developed minor league system. Because hypothetically, let's say everything works out 2, 3, 4 years down the season later, you need to make a big trade. You need to add a big superstar. You have the assets that doesn't jeopardize the major club. You can go out and trade some pieces from your minor league system because you're so deep, and you can go and add a star player to get you over the hump, to get you to the Stanley Cup.
And the other thing is, if one or two of your players become with the big team become a little bit too expensive, you got young ones to come in and take that spot. I mean, that's basically how the Dodgers have been winning the NL West for the last like decade.
Exactly.
Like the minor league system is stocked, and the major league roster is stocked for them. And that's kind of how you want to ideally build it, and that's how you can avoid going into tank mode, is by having the cycle keep churning out these great quality prospects and turn them into stars. So they're on the road to doing that right now. Obviously, these players have to like, finish the job, and they got to do what that they're expected to do. But if they hit, if 3/4 of these guys end up being hits, man, this is gonna be a really good team in a couple of years, and I'm really excited, and I'm
Tyler
glad
just had
to
a
see it.
comment in the chat that said the coach is my only question mark.
Yeah,
I
he's a
get
first
why.
time. Yeah,
I get why, but at the same time, like I know it's not the same sport.
Ryan's Warsofsky, by the way, just throwing that out there. That's the name.
Right.
Yeah.
Mike Greer's brother, Tampa Bay Buccaneers football guy. Um, how many times have we seen NFL head coaches that are younger, especially now, get first time opportunities and they're instant successes. And I think there is something to be said to having a younger coach that is breathing fresh air into the franchise and into the
Mhm.
players. Relatability in the modern sports era is important.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not like, I'll say 6 or 7 years ago, 10 years ago, where you were able to get a Bill Parcells who was 70 years old and still coaching.
Mhm.
It's not like that anymore. Like these players want to relate to people. It's a different dynamic. So I do think the San Jose Sharks and Mike Greer, I mean, look at all these moves. Is he a dummy? I mean, this guy he wasn't a great player, right? But
No, he was a good player.
he
Yeah,
was a
that's. I
good
mean,
player.
yeah, he was good,
And
and
he was in the locker room. I think from a player's point of view, I think Mike Greer has a good vantage point of what would I want as a coach? And now as the general manager, he's saying, well, what do I want in a general manager? And I think so far he's been doing a pretty damn good job in balancing what would I be ideal from a player's point of view and what would be ideal from a franchise general manager point of view.
Mhm.
I don't know how it's going to play out. It could be the worst decision he ever made, or it could be the best decision he's ever made. But I'm willing to give him the shot of picking his coach
yeah.
and trust him with his coach.
Mhm. This franchise has been known for at least like front office stability,
Right.
and and I mean, outside of this, now we're on like 5 years of losing. Outside of this, they were pretty stable, like, at coach too. They weren't trading him out every other year. There was like, you would get at least 4 years out of a guy, bare minimum. I mean, Todd McClellan was here for 7 years or something like that. Ron Wilson, like, kicking it back to the mid two
Yeah. Long
thousands, like
time.
he was there for 5 or 6 years. I mean, so when the Sharks were winning, obviously you don't need to make too many changes when you're winning and you're close. You need to make tweaks here and there, and they ended up not being able to, get the final job done, but they were always, you know, they were always looking, they were always big game hunting, and right now this is the time for Mike Greer. He's gonna get
Didn't
a chance with his
one of
road
the
coach. Yeah.
didn't Sutter go on and win a
Oh yeah,
Stanley
with
Cup
the LA
after?
Kings. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
mean, it's not like they were hiring knuckleheads. They didn't get it
Right.
done with the Sharks, but they had coaches that were
Hmm.
good coaches, and unfortunately, some of them went off and won elsewhere. Um,
Hmm.
but it just shows that their work ethic and their hockey mind was in the right spot.
Oh
So
yeah, totally. I
yeah.
mean, and winning the Stanley Cup, that is it's obviously a really tough ask. It might be the toughest trophy to win in all of sports. It might be. I mean,
Vince, as you say
yeah,
that every year, I notice there's teams that were like loser teams the year before, then all of a sudden they're in it. Like they
yeah,
are in it
yeah.
and they win. And then the next year they're like,
They're back to dog shit.
they're
Yeah.
back to, yeah, like,
Yeah,
so,
yeah, it's you got to be good, but then you also got to be crazy hot too.
right.
And we've seen goaltenders in the past just steal
Take over.
Stanley Cups. That Anthony Niemi in 2010
I
for
was just going to
Chicago.
say, yeah,
That first Chicago championship in 2010, it wasn't their first ever, but like the first one that we got to see. Yeah, they like Anthony Niemi just went
went
nuclear
God
hot.
mode.
Like, yeah, he went Clay Thompson, what was it, 60 points on 11 shots. Like he just went.
Right.
You don't get that hot in video games, like
Right.
he was just crazy good that year. Anyway, okay, so we're gonna put a pin in the Sharks discussion for now. We will come back to it next week and future weeks as well. This is gonna be something that we keep an eye on. But
We're
we are
coming
going to
back to it
switch. Yeah.
for a special edition, so you got to stick around for the special treat of
Right, yeah.
what we're gonna do here.
Yeah, we'll circle back to that. We're gonna talk Wrexham real quick. Tyler's usually the guy that does that, but that's okay. I did some light reading and figured it out. They get the win 3-0 over Reading. Ollie Palmer and Elliot Lee scored in the first half. Andy Cannon scored at the beginning of the second half, and when you score at the worst times to allow a goal is either at the end of the first half, because then you got to throw your whatever you were planning to say in halftime, you got to just throw that in the garbage and come up with something new on the fly as a head coach, or right after the start of the second half, which is what Andy Cannon did in the 49th minute. You get that score, then basically everything you talked about at halftime gets thrown out, and you got to do it on the fly. So Wrexham gets the win. They jump up to 4th in the EFL 1 standings. They're 7 points, 2 wins, 1 draw, no losses. Next match is at Peterborough on Saturday. That's 7 a.m. And Peterborough is currently 7th in the league. And I just wanted to make a note real quick about relegation and promotion. For EFL 1, which is where Wrexham is now, that's the 3rd tier on the British football pyramid. The top 2 teams, and then a winner of a playoff between teams ranked 3rd through 6th. Those are your teams that get moved up. So top 2 teams plus the winner of a playoff between teams 3 through 6. So 3 go up, and if you want to be in the top 2, obviously that's the goal. You don't have to be in the playoff, excuse me. But even if you make the playoffs, you still got a shot at getting promoted. And if they do the triple, if they can get promoted again,
Yeah.
I don't wow. That's bonkers.
What a run.
That would be insane. That you want to talk ungodly runs. That's Anthony Niemi in 2010, man. That's the kind of stuff that you just do not see. That's unheard of. Yes, to go from 5th tier, if they end up, sneaking into the championship next year, to go in successive years, I don't want to get too. It's too early to really talk about that, but just the idea that it's even on the table.
Exactly.
Are you fucking kidding me? Oh,
exactly.
Man. Okay.
Mom is home.
All right, so now let's switch gears to the NWSL. This is huge news, and it's huge for North American sports news, not just women's soccer. This is North American breaking fucking news. This is great. So what happened was the NWSL and the NWSL Players Association announced a new collective bargaining agreement. And so here are the highlights, okay? So there's going to be revenue sharing. So for the first time, a collectively bargained salary cap will be tied to revenue sharing on top of a guaranteed minimum base salary cap. So in the picture that that we have there, one half is just the announcement and list what it is. The right half is actually showing every year the base salary cap, the bare minimum each year is going to keep rising. So bare minimum in 2030, you're going to be spending 5.1 million on salary at least. And if revenues go up, that number is going to go up too. And it's going to be a little gradual build. 2027, it'll jump up pretty significantly, but then it'll be pretty steady, couple $100K every year until you get to the 5.1 in 2030. And this CBA actually is going to take effect. It's already in effect for as of the end of July. Excuse me. So another thing, this is huge. The elimination of the draft. So the entry draft, so college players getting drafted, that is gone. Expansion draft for new teams, that's gone now too. That's abolished. So expansion teams that are coming, they're just going to have to find players and sign them and build up the system on their own. They don't get to pick from anybody else's other teams' leftovers. Guaranteed contracts, every contract will be guaranteed. Contracts generally prevent the league from terminating player contracts prior to the end of their term, except in limited circumstances. So there's, for the most part, the contract you sign, that's the money you're getting now. So this is huge for advance as well. This is good for the sport, for the players especially. No trades without player consent. So everybody has a no movement clause now automatically. Players cannot be traded without their consent. This protects players from being traded against their will and without knowledge, without knowing it in advance. So if somebody wants to like go, like if somebody works out a trade deal, they got to talk to the players first. If they don't go for it, that trade's not happening. That is huge. Um, there's also going to be some workload management stuff as well. Because this league is growing, there's going to be another 2 teams added in 2026, I believe. Boston is going to be one of them. We don't know what the other one's going to be. But as the league is growing, the demands on players is going to increase because you got to play more games with more teams. So the new CBA is going to address the game frequency, travel conditions, time off, and all that fun stuff. And then all NWSL players are going to become free agents when their current contracts expire. So they're not going to have like restricted free agents like we see in NFL and like, ways to hold on to players
Right.
even though they're not under contract. That's all gone now too. This is all game changing for North American sports. This is closer to how the European sports leagues operate, especially soccer out there. So this is NWSL kind of lining itself up with those with those leagues as well. They already have a lot of the top end talent in women's soccer, but now they're gonna operate similarly to how the top end leagues in Europe operate as well. So this is going to be huge, and I'm really excited for the players. You want to talk about getting their bag? The players union as a whole, they got their fucking bag, man. And I'm yeah, golf claps for
Yeah.
y'all. This is great, man. I'm so excited for the players. This is huge. I mean, no, getting rid of the draft, it's
So that
gone.
means like you're a college player or
Mhm.
or
You can,
whatever,
yeah,
you could sign wherever you want to go, or
that's
is
right.
there
Yeah,
a
you don't have
pool?
to. You don't throw
Is
your name into a pool or anything.
is there like a amount of money that a team can? Is there a
Well, I mean,
salary cap
there's
or?
a salary cap still, but like that's going to be tied to revenue as well. So I mean, if you're a player and you can make more money playing in Spain, or whatever, you can go to Spain. Or if you're going to make more money in the NWSL, you can stay in the NWSL as well. But you're also not going to be forced to go play for one of the bottom teams just because you're one of the best players. Um, you can go sign with with Gotham SC, like that the one of the top teams in the league. You can you want to go play with Barbara Banda in Orlando, and you're good enough, and they've got the room in the salary cap to make it happen. If you're a top tier college player, go fucking do it, man. So
Right.
this is huge. I'm
I
so
guess
excited to see how this works out.
my only fear is you got owners like whatever compare like I'm assuming there are crap owners in the NWSL, or
Mhm.
maybe are all of them good owners, or
I
do we got any John Fishers in the NWSL?
That's a good question, and
So that's
this
my only
system's gonna
fear,
find them. This system is gonna find the bad owners real
because
quick.
this is basically, if you're a owner and you want to win, it's a pay to win. Like, you can
Mhm.
go out and do whatever the hell you want based on the salary cap and whatever. But if you want to like basically get rid of your roster and start all over again with a bunch of young people and just pay top dollar, you have that opportunity. I would be worried that, let's say this was an MLS,
Mhm.
that you got ownership like John Fisher who will not spend a dime.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah.
I'm worried about.
Right, and I think right now the NWSL is at 14 teams, so it's obviously a smaller ownership group entirely. Um, there's they've, from what I can tell, the teams that I've encountered so far, it looks like they have ownership that's at least willing to try, for the most part.
Yeah.
Like even we'll talk about BFC right now, actually, while we're in the middle of doing this. They lost 2-1 to the Utah Royals. Utah's the last place team, but both of their matches against Utah, Utah beat BFC, and BFC's fighting for a playoff spot. They were in the holding the last spot. They've fallen down to 10th. They're 1 point out of eighth place right now. So BFC is fighting for a playoff spot right now. The bottom dwellers, Utah, they're still good enough, and they have good enough players, and and to like make some noise and make it happen. They already, like, they fired Amy Rodriguez, who was a former U.S. women's national team player, and she was their head coach. They fired her. They're an expansion team too. So I mean, this feels like a league with a lot of parity as it is right now. Like bad teams can become real good real quick. Good teams like Seattle last year was in the championship. They Megan Rapinoe retires. They lose a couple other players to free agency. They're now toward the bottom. But like it, these owners, like it sounds like from what I haven't dug in deeply, but I feel more confident in the NWSL owners than I do in pretty much any other league. Like the worst NWSL owners are going to be a lot better, I think, is what I'm getting at, than
I
the
hope
worst of
so.
any other leagues. And I hope that's,
I
and I
hope
hope I'm right about that. I
I
really
hope
do.
so.
And we'll find out.
Cautiously
Fairly,
optimistic on my
exactly.
end.
Yeah. Also, that there's, the fact that there's only 14 of them, and they've already ousted a couple of, front office type people as well. They're not afraid to get rid of. They're not afraid to give somebody the boot if it needs to happen. So North Carolina Courage actually had an issue with some really bad stuff. We can look. You can go look at it later for those of you that are listening. So I'm just,
For sure.
like I said, cautiously optimistic is the perfect way to describe that. And I think, if you're getting involved in women's sports, you have to be willing to play the game a little bit harder. Because right now you're basically on the front end. You're like trying to get take something that's kind of established, has been around for about a decade, but you're trying to like make it exist for the next 50 years or longer. So
For
this
sure.
so they're really trying to make sure that they get the right people in place. And I think at the team in LA, Angel City, they just got new ownership too, and it's like they're always they're trying to improve there. So I do give a lot of credit so far, at least from what I've seen. Um, so let's just talk Bay FC real quick. They have an international friendly match this coming Tuesday against Barcelona in town. We were just talking about playing in Spain. So Spain's coming to play here. And then Friday they're hosting the Portland Thorns, 7 p.m. So if you're able to go to San Jose on either Tuesday or a Friday, like there's some really good teams coming. All right, so here's the news. We talked about San Jose based teams making moves. They Bay FC made two of them today actually. So they transferred their goalkeeper Lyciane Prue to Juventus Women in the Italian league for a quote agreed upon transfer fee. I don't know what the transfer fee is. They didn't announce that, but so they sent one of their goalkeepers out to Italy. I think she probably wanted a trade because she wasn't getting much playing time. She was a starter at the beginning of the year for the first like 6 games, and then Caitlin Rowland came in and just kind of has been holding the job ever since. The other move that they made is Bay FC acquired defender Abby Dahlkemper, who's a former U.S. Women's National Team player. She was playing in San Diego. 50K down to San Diego, and we get Abby Dahlkemper. She's from Menlo Park, so she's coming home. She was excited,
Right on.
this trade was part of the collective bargaining. So she did agree to come. She's excited for the opportunity to help get this expansion team into the playoffs. She was the starter alongside Naomi Girma, who we talked about in the Olympics.
Mhm.
Those were your two backstops in San Diego. Abby Dahlkemper's coming home now, so I'm really excited. She also signed a contract extension through 2026, and it has an option year for 2027 as well. So not only is Abby Dahlkemper coming home, she's coming home to like be here. She wants to like really see this team get some success early on in its existence. So I'm excited. I've been watching Abby Dahlkemper forever. She's I think she's 31 right now, so like she's still got a plenty of good years left to really help this team out. So this is a good move to get a veteran to kind of help steady it all out. And yeah, so I'm pumped for this move, man. So this is great.
Right on.
Yeah. Okay. So now, it's getting a little bit check my watch. It is fuck John Fisher o'clock. Let's rip through this, man. Okay.
Fuck John Fisher.
Fuck John Fisher.
Fisher.
Yeah, fuck John Fisher. Okay. So Sacramento premium pricing has been revealed.
Oh,
$15K to $20K per seat per year. And you must buy the full season and commit to the duration of the team's stay in Sacramento. And you must also secure this deal in person with a meeting with the team. So they want to really just lock in. They want to get 60 to 80K out of you. For example, though, if you were, let's say you're a Yankees fan and you live in New York, you can get to the Bronx pretty easy. 2 season tickets, a season ticket, section 126, row 9, which is on the third base side. So field level, like right down there, 9 rows up from the field.
This is Yankee tickets. Now you're
Yankee
talking
tickets.
You're
I'm talking
comparing
Yankee
this to
tickets.
Yankee tickets. Okay.
Yeah. Yankee tickets, according to what I saw, is a little over 16K. Yankee tickets, third base, first deck, 9 rows up, 16K. John Fisher wants you to pay for Sacramento for a minor league stadium where you're going to sweat your nuts off. He wants you to pay 15 to 20K for that seat. I cannot fucking believe that. Fuck that guy right in the ear with no lube because he's not using it for listening. You might as well just skull fuck this son of a bitch. God damn, fuck this guy. Somebody like play pan flute or something. I need to like calm down. My blood pressure's rising. Jesus fucking Christ, man.
I think that was the first skull fucking announcement we ever got on the podcast.
Yeah. Seriously. Oh my God. Okay.
No, the shadiness. I mean, just the shady business practice of this guy. And, you know, you got these fucking knuckleheads on Twitter, like cheering him on. You know, it's 2 guys with 25 sock puppet accounts on Twitter. It's just screwing the fans over. And then you're screwing over the fans that, if you want to call it hospitality from Vivek, then you're fucking them over. It's just shady, man. It's just absolutely shady. Why any fellow businessman would want to get into bed with this guy and do any type of business is beyond me. It makes no sense. I don't know. I mean, I could spend until the cows come home, but the MLB is not going to do a damn thing. The Players Association is not going to do a damn thing. Like, at the end of the day, they do not give a shit.
Yeah.
Like, the owners, there's the Philadelphia Phillies owner comes out and gives this big emotional speech about owners should be, stewards of the game.
After he was on the committee, right?
After being on the committee that allowed the A's to get the fuck out of Oakland and to Sacramento and then Las Vegas. So I've been saying
he watched
this
that season 3
years,
of Ted
dude.
Lasso, man.
I've been saying this for years, Vince, that there are more owners in Major League Baseball that are like John Fisher than the guys that are like even the Steinbrenners. Like, at this point, it's freaking sad when the Steinbrenners are like the good owners.
Yeah.
Like,
Jesus.
It's sad.
Mm-hmm.
That's the sad state of affairs of sports that we're in, is that, you know what? George Steinbrenner and even Hal Steinbrenner, they care about their team. They're always 100% committed. And with the amount of revenue that they generate, they should be. So they're doing their job. But you know what? The amount of revenue that the A's have generated, they have generated revenue. Anybody who is saying that a Major League Baseball team is operating in the red is full of shit. And we know that because Forbes has reported on this multiple times. We've had multiple former baseball employees come out and confirm this. Like, they're not losing money. MLB is making money hand over fist. Not one franchise is operating in the red.
Yeah. Okay.
It's nonsense.
We did have one other thing, but we can save it for next week. It's getting a little late, and I got a family league draft to get to for fantasy football. So I think we're gonna save that for future, and I think that's just a good button to end this on. And it's like we said, it's always fuck John Fisher o'clock here at SVT Sports Pod. So with that, I think we need to call it a day. You got anything else you want to add to the good of the order for the good of the order, Sam? Spit it out, then.
I was gonna share a special treat.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, let's do that.
Uh,
We can share that. Absolutely. We
Tim,
teased it.
you see that link? I sent it into the chat. It's under hockey. Give you a little bit of an idea of what it is. Or can I screen share?
I don't know. Try it. Let's see.
All right, let me see if I can do this. Let me cue it up real quick.
If we can make this work, this is a little treat for you all. Sam, once upon a time, did a little something for the Sharks.
I did.
Just to tease it a little bit. And I mean, this is this has been like, this is what, 9 or 10 years ago at least. Like it's been quite a while since this has been around. But so Sam kind of gets to have a little bit of street cred when he's jumping onto this bandwagon right now. He's like, no, I've been here. You can fib it a little, bud. You can,
All right.
Here we go. So Sam, are we able to make this happen? We good?
I'm doing a screen share. Can you guys see it in the chat?
Is it working? No, it's just popping up on the thing on the other window.
Oh, okay. Tim,
right.
You can't get it to play?
No. He's shaking his head no. Okay, so we'll try to get this working for next week, but
we'll get it on the opening next week.
Yeah,
So
we'll get it on the opening.
We'll get it on the opening.
Yeah, but Sam was he like we said, he did a little something for the Sharks, a few years ago, and we're gonna show it to you next week. Okay, so there's your tease to come back. All right. So with that said, thank you for listening to the podcast. Subscribe, hit the bell for alerts when we go live. Follow us on Instagram and Threads at SVT Sports Pod. And hell, send us an email, svtsportspod@gmail.com. Slide into them DMs, baby. Let's go. With that, we say goodnight and fuck you, John Fisher. Eat a dick. Fuck yeah.